Since 2002, Patrick Lencioni has sold 3 million copies of his book, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team, and he continues to sell 3,000 copies per month today. That just goes to show that being part of a high-performing team is really a high priority. So today, we're going to explore the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team profile and team building program. We had the great pleasure of being trained by Patrick Lencioni to use this program. So in this video, I'm going to share tips and ideas that he shared with us. And be sure to watch through to the end because I have a special offer just for you. Hey there, it's Amy Pearl from Work Ignited, and on this channel, we share tips and ideas to ignite your passion, ignite your team, and ignite your workplace. If you are a fan of this channel, you know that I love everything DISC. And DISC happens to be published by Wiley, who also publishes Patrick Lencioni's books. So a few years ago, they actually decided to merge the two into one program called the 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team. So in this product review, I'm going to show you 4 things. First, I'll show you what's included in the 5 behaviors profile that each team member completes in advance of the team building sessions. Second, I'll show you what's included in the 5 behaviors facilitation kit, including the facilitator's report. Third, I'll share the outline I've followed and activities I've used with my clients. And because I want to make sure you always get the straight scoop on the products I review, I'll talk about the times when I don't use this profile and some common mistakes to avoid so that you can be as successful as possible. If this information is helpful to you, please click on the like button or subscribe to this channel because we post new ideas and product reviews and all kinds of things every single week. Also, there's a ton of information in the description at the bottom of this video. There's links to sample products, links to sample videos, and of course, if you want to purchase any of these products, there's a link to those as well. So let's dive in. Patrick Lencioni's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, is a short story about an all-too-realistic team who goes from dysfunction to a state of cohesiveness and high performance. Working over time, the team builds trust and processes for developing healthy, productive conflict so that they can reach commitment to goals and initiatives. Once commitment is in place, they can build a true spirit of accountability, and not hierarchical accountability from the team leader, but rather peer-to-peer accountability. Ultimately, the team achieves shared results. It's not necessary for participants to read the book in advance, but there's no harm in having them do so. In fact, so many people have already read it, it's really easy to convince the team that this is the team building process they should use. The 5 behaviors team building process begins by each team member taking the 5 behaviors online questionnaire. Each individual's personalized report serves as the only workbook you need for the entire team building process. This really minimizes your prep time and makes this what I call a grab and go program. The profile is so well laid out, it walks the team right through the development of each of the 5 behaviors. First, the profile shows the team's overall results using the 5 behaviors triangle. Red, yellow, and green color coding make it super easy for the team to see their strengths and weaknesses. Here's a tip. When you're mapping out your team building sessions, you might be tempted to rush through or skip over those high scoring green shaded areas. But in our training with Lencioni, he advised us not to do that, especially if this is the first time this team has experienced something like this. Sometimes people are a little hesitant to share their true feelings, and so the scores are a little bit more elevated the first time through. So I always make sure to spend time, even on those green shaded high scoring areas, just to validate that the scores are either accurate or to really dive in if someone was a little nervous about expressing their true feelings when they were taking the assessment. The profile then walks through each one of the 5 dysfunctions, revealing the team's views of its strengths and weaknesses, how each individual team member's style might positively impact the team, or on the other hand, contribute to the dysfunction, and specific actions the team can take to become a more cohesive, high-performing team. Through Lencioni's own consulting work, as well as how he knows others use the model, he knew that the team typically tried to create trust by using either Everything DISC or Myers-Briggs.
After all, his trust model is about becoming more vulnerable, opening up to one another, and creating a spirit of appreciation for the diversity within a group. So when the team takes the assessment, they also complete a personal questionnaire. The result is that a participant's report is customized with incredible insight about how their style positively impacts the team or contributes to the team's dysfunction.
Now, I love everything DISC because of its simplicity. I find that not only is it easy for people to learn about their own styles, but very quickly they learn about their team members' styles, their priorities, their preferences, their motivators, and especially how they might react in conflict. So I find that using DISC gives people very actionable ways to open communication channels and adopt new mindsets to work better as a group. Now, if you're a Myers-Briggs fan, you can just choose the all types version of this profile and the facilitators kit to have the same experience. I just find that people have enough trouble trying to remember their own Myers-Briggs type, let alone the 4-letter combinations of all their team members. So that's why I prefer to use DISC. That brings me to the facilitators kit. Let me take a moment to first let you know that although we sell the 5 behaviors profile and facilitation kit, I am always completely honest with my clients. I don't always use this kit in my sessions, and let me tell you why. This is not a training class.
Picture a training class for a moment, perhaps for a software system. Everyone is sitting facing the front of the room, and the trainer gives the participants instructions. The participants have some hands-on experience to make sure that they get the message, and then there's a test. 5 behaviors is not like that at all. In fact, I'd much rather have the participants talking to each other than watching videos or listening to me. But sometimes watching other teams do things well can be really valuable. So here's what's in the kit. It's set up to support the 7 modules of the process, beginning with the introduction to the team's results, the 5 behaviors, and a wrap-up. In addition to a video introduction, Patrick Lencioni introduces each module. You can see a few samples in the description section of this video. Some clients, especially if they're fans of the book, love having him as part of their session. You also receive ready-to-print participant handouts, activity suggestions, and the research behind the tool and the process. A neat feature are these 3x5 takeaway cards that serve as reminders for each team member after the session. The nice thing about 5 behaviors is that you can decide what you'd like to use and what you might like to create yourself. One tool I would highly recommend is the 5 Behaviors Annotated Team Report. It's available in your Epic online ordering system. It's an amazing facilitators report. Not only does it look exactly like the pages in the team members' workbooks, it includes annotations in the margins with comments that you can share with the team and normative data to show them how they compare to others. On the DISC or all types pages that are personalized for each team member, you'll see the names and profiles of each of your participants.
Now let's talk about the team building sessions themselves. Remember that this is a facilitated program, not a training class. So those of you who like fully scripted, minute by minute outlines of a program might be a little uncomfortable at first. Just be open to not having 100% of what's going to happen mapped out or how much time activities might actually take, and you'll be great. Let me give you my high-level plan for this program.
I tell my clients that they should plan for at least 3 sessions. Lencioni himself informed us that you would most likely only make it through the trust module in the first session. One of the things I like about this profile and the facilitation kit is that they're laid out by module. You don't even have to give the participants the full report on the first day. Session 1 typically includes 4 things. First, Lencioni recommends a personal history exercise where team members share personal information about themselves. I've expanded that concept using my team introduction exercise that I walk through in my team introductions video. A link to that video and the worksheet that goes along with it is in the description below. After reviewing the model, we review their overall scores on the 5 behaviors. Most of the session is a deep dive into the trust module, which includes a rather typical everything DISC workshop. Wrap-up includes action planning, first at the individual level. What specifically is each team member going to do to be more open with the team, more accepting of their coworker styles, and more thoughtful about how they approach conversations with others? The report also recommends specific things the whole team could stop doing or start doing to build trust. So the team reviews those items to create a team credo, ground rules, rules of engagement, whatever you might call them, in the form of a team action plan.
Now, I believe, as good as we are as facilitators, real trust building happens because people hike over the mountains and through the valleys together. So I end the first session here and send them off for a few weeks to practice, work together, and build trust. There's nothing I hate more than a 2-day offsite meeting where dysfunctional teams go off and expect to be magically healed. Sustainable change happens over time, especially since the next topic can get a little dicey. That's conflict.
I begin session 2 with an accountability exercise where each team member talks about what he or she has done better, differently, or more often since session 1. Then I dive into the conflict module. There's an amazing page in their report which shows them how their DISC styles can help them in conflict situations or how their styles can hurt them, especially when the pressure's on. This page also shows how each of their team members might respond in conflict, so this immediately explains a lot of things.
I then use my creating productive conflict exercise that I've outlined in another video called Creating Productive Conflict with Teams. You can find a link to that video in the description below. I also like to get them talking about real life. So as pre-work, I ask them to bring 2 examples of conflict among the team, either the whole team or just a couple of members of the team. I asked them to first bring an example of a conflict situation where things went well and it worked out fine. Then I asked them to bring a second example of a conflict situation that's still unresolved or wasn't resolved very well.
The team studies their profile results as well as their own recommendations for maintaining productive, healthy conflict that were collected during the original questionnaire. I asked them to share their positive examples of real-life conflict. Then we identify specific actions that kept those situations positive and productive. Next, we explore their second examples of real-life conflict situations that did not go so well. We then identify what went wrong and what they would like to avoid in the future.
This is the break point where, again, I send them off for a few weeks to practice their new skills and agreements. Now, Lencioni reports that these 2 modules, trust and conflict, often take the longest amount of time with teams. You may even need an additional session to continue on just these 2 topics. I've been fortunate enough to be able to cover the 2 modules each in one session with the group, and my time frame for the trust module and the conflict module is typically a longer half day, and then I like to encourage the team to do something afterwards, perhaps go out to dinner or do something fun to continue the team building process more informally.
Now that the team is on a roll, it's super easy to combine the commitment and accountability modules into your 3rd session. Commitment is about building agreement, and there are good ideas in the profile. I also add in 2 ways to build commitment. First, I help the team to build commitment by using 4 agreement building questions in their own meetings or conversations. Here's how agreement building questions work. Before you walk away from a discussion or meetings, ask these 4 questions. First, what decision did we make today? In essence, what are we going to do as a result of this conversation? Second, who is going to do what by when? This tees up the accountability process. I think many conversations end with these 2 questions, but often the next 2 questions are skipped, leaving many people throughout organizations feeling that they're not in the loop. So the 3rd question is, who needs to know about this? Followed by, what is the message? This ensures that our team is keeping people in the know, and it also ensures we're in agreement, because if we can walk away from a meeting being able to speak to others with one voice, we must be committed. Interestingly enough, however, sometimes when teams get to this point, they realize that they don't intend to deliver the same message to others, signaling that they have to go back to question 1, since they mustn't fully be committed to the original decision or the resulting action steps. My second way to build commitment during a discussion is what I call the Fist of Five. You can find my instructions for the Fist of Five in my video called Making Decisions with a Fist of Five. The link is in the description below.
Accountability is about peer-to-peer accountability. Once we build agreement, it's usually pretty easy to stay accountable. And if not, you have a framework to talk about the lack of accountability with your coworker. Again, the profile is going to tell people how easy it is for them to handle the topic of accountability with their peers, and it suggests several ideas for making it happen.
So this is when I reach for the 5 Behaviors Personal Development Kit. This kit is really designed for use of the 5 Behaviors program with people who aren't part of an intact team. In essence, open classes of people who are just trying to build their own personal skills. I've reviewed this product in another video, but I'll tell you, it includes some great video clips showcasing how to have difficult accountability-related conversations with your coworkers. I've included a link for you to watch a sample video in the description below. At this point in the team building process, I like to start weaving in my clients' real business goals. Do they have a strategic plan, annual goals, project milestones, or other expectations already established for the team? Do they have good systems of measuring their progress toward those goals? Without good systems for expectation setting and measuring progress, building commitment and accountability can be downright impossible. So sometimes this aspect of the team building process takes on more of a tactical consulting twist. Finally, the results module. Depending on the level of the team's dysfunction, you may be able to tackle this one during the same session as commitment and accountability. Or you could move it to a 4th session, or even cover it in a 1-hour checkup meeting a month or 2 out. Here's one of my favorite parts of the entire 5 Behaviors program. That's the 5 Behaviors Progress Report. A few months after you complete the team building process, the team can be resurveyed to measure their progress. The report beautifully compares the time 1 results to the time 2 results, making it easy to see where progress has been made. I recommend administering this somewhere between 6 and 12 months upon completion of the first round of team building sessions.
Here's one small thing to note. Sometimes their scores actually get worse. Don't panic if this happens. Almost always you will hear someone say something like, the scores are worse because I wasn't comfortable being honest and open the first time around. So now they're feeling more comfortable and they express their concerns more openly, and the fun can really begin. Now for some straight scoop. This program is not for every team building situation. As you can see, the profile is extensive and the sessions can be incredibly deep and time consuming. I often get requests for a couple of hours of fun team building activities. That is not this. When someone asks for a quick, simple, fun experience, I just recommend Everything Disc Workplace. In 2 to 3 hours, team members have a lot of fun getting to know one another and getting to know their teammates.
So my first tip is to make sure the team is ready to commit for the long haul. Second, the team leader has to be a champion for this effort. If they aren't committed, the team will struggle. I always insist on having one-on-one coaching sessions with the team leader in advance of the program, between each session, and after the final session. That way, we can make sure real action is taking place. Third, don't start this process if the right people aren't on the team.
In fact, one of the first questions that I ask people who are looking for team building support is just that. Do you have the right people on the team? I would hate to see you invest a lot of time or money working through a team building process when you know you've got 1 or 2 bad apples on the team. We need to fix that problem first, either by helping the person to perform better. Maybe we need to do some one-on-one coaching with that person, or maybe it's time for that person to move off the team so we can bring in a group who really want to work together as a cohesive team. Similarly, if someone has an opening on a team, I encourage them not to start the process until they have that opening filled, just because it doesn't make sense to start a team building process when you don't have a whole team.
My fourth tip, sometimes the team leader might feel or even know that he or she is part of the problem. Once in a while, they ask if they shouldn't even be included in the first session. I tell them that we can't move forward without the full team, and that includes the leader. But perhaps we need to do a little coaching with that leader first. Even administering 360-degree feedback will help break the ice and set that leader on the right path. Then we can start the team building process. My final tip, as I mentioned this earlier, it's that you really have to be ready to facilitate and not train.
Now, I know trainers who won't take team building assignments because they know that training is their strength, not facilitating these kinds of discussions. But honestly, I think that using the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team profile and facilitation kit makes it so easy. And I want to help you feel really prepared. So that brings us to the special offer that I promised you.
In the description below, you'll find a link to purchase the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team facilitator kit and the 5 behaviors individual development kit. If you purchase one of those today through the links in the description, we can schedule a 1-hour one-on-one coaching call to get you ready to use the tools with your team. In the coaching call, we'll take time to map out your series of team sessions and what you can cover at each session. If you'd like to hold the coaching call after your team completes the profile, we can look for opportunities by reviewing their actual results. I'll share a script for facilitating your progress check session using the 5 behaviors progress report. And I'll also include an outline for a 1-day program if you have a team that wants to use 5 behaviors, but they just don't have the time or budget for multiple sessions.
So now my final 5 behaviors review. Content. I give it 10 out of 10. I love this profile. The full integration of either everything disc or all types is amazing. Plus, there's recommended actions in every module. The kit includes Patrick Lencioni videos, and everyone loves hearing right from the author. Customization. I also give it 10 out of 10. Although you can't change the profile itself, you can use just one module at a time, you can integrate videos if you need them, you can follow the recommended activities, or create your own. Cost. I give this 6 out of 10. Since the profile combines 2 assessments into one, the 5 behaviors, and either DISC or all types, it's a great value, but it's also a little bit on the pricier side. And the Facilitators Kit is also a little bit on the pricier side, but those Patrick Lencioni videos are priceless. Overall, I give 5 behaviors 26 out of 30 points. So why not buy your kit today? I'd love to spend that 1 hour in our coaching call together. We've created this channel to share ideas and activities with our Work Ignited community, but we absolutely know that you're the real experts. So share your own thoughts and ideas in the comments below. How will you integrate 5 behaviors into your team building activities? Have you read the book? Are you already using it? I'd love to hear your comments. And if this information was helpful to you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel because we post new ideas, new videos every Tuesday. Thanks for watching.